Mr. Chairman, Head 10, Office of the President, as amended, in the amount of $2,402,513.
Mr. Chairman, I beg to move that Head 10 as amended stand part, please.
The question is that Head 10 as amended stand part. All honorable members in favor, say aye. Honorable members against, say no. Methinks the ayes have it.
Head 12, Parliament as amended, in the amount of $17,190,950.
Mr. Chairman, I beg to move that Head 17 as amended stand part, please.
As amended stand part. All honorable members in favor, say aye. Head 12.
Head 12 as amended.
Head 12 as amended stand part. All honorable members in favor, say aye. Aye. Honorable members against, say no. Methinks the ayes have it.
Head 13, as amended, Prime Minister's Office, in the amount of $354,990,210.
Mr. Chairman, I beg to move that Head 13 as amended stand part.
The question is that Head 13 as amended stand part. All honorable members in favor, say aye. Aye. Honorable members against, say no. Methinks the ayes have it.
Head 14, Ministry of Finance, as amended, in the amount of $325,935,458.
Mr. Chairman, I beg to move that Head 14 stand part as amended.
The question is that Head 14 as amended stand part. All honorable members in favor, say aye. Aye. Honorable members against, say no. Methinks the ayes have it.
Head 15, Cabinet Office, as amended, in the amount of $29,947,564.
The question is?
Yeah.
Mr. Chairman, I beg to move that Head 15 as amended stand part, please.
The question is that Head 15 as amended stand part. All honorable members in favor, say aye. Aye. Honorable members against, say no. Methinks the ayes have it.
Head 17, Ombudsman.
Mr. Chairman, I beg to move that Head 17 stand part.
The question is that Head 17 stand part. All honorable members in favor, say aye. Aye. Honorable members against, say no. Methinks the ayes have it.
And Mr. Chairman, that amount was $897,484. Head 18, Audit, in the amount of $1,770,823.
Mr. Chairman, I beg to move that Head 18 stand part.
The question is that Head 18 stand part. All honorable members in favor, say aye. Aye. Honorable members against, say no. Methinks the ayes have it.
Head 19, Treasury, in the amount of $54 million.
Mr. Chairman, I beg to move that Head 19 stand part.
The question is that Head 19 stand part. All honorable members in favor, say aye. Aye. Honorable members against, say no. Methinks the ayes have it.
Head 20, as amended, Ministry of the Public Service and Talent Development, in the amount of $11,018,581.
Mr. Chairman, I beg to move that Head 20 as amended stand part.
The question is that Head 20 as amended stand part. All honorable members in favor, say aye. Honorable members against, say no. Methinks the ayes have it.
Head 27, Ministry of Tourism and International Transport, recommitted and amended, in the amount of $31,072,453.
Mr. Chairman, I beg that Head 27 as amended stand part.
The question is that Head 27 as amended stand part. All honorable members in favor, say aye. Aye. Honorable members against, say no. Methinks the ayes have it.
Head 29, Director of Public Prosecutions, in the amount of $2,658,438.
Mr. Chairman, I beg to move the head stand part.
Question is that head 29 stand part. All honorable members in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Honorable members against, say no. Methinks the ayes have it.
Head 30, Attorney General, as amended, in the amount of $18,508,613.
Mr. Chairman, I beg to move that head 30 as amended stand part.
The question is that head 30 as amended stand part. All honorable members in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Honorable members against, say no. Methinks the ayes have it.
Head 31, Ministry of Innovation, Industry, Science and Technology, recommitted and amended in the amount of $159,679,120.
Beg to move, sir, the head 31 stand part.
The question is that head 31 as amended stand part. All honorable members in favor, say aye. Honorable members against, say no. Methinks the ayes have it.
Head 32, Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade, recommitted and amended in the amount of $79,791,720.
Mr. Chairman, I beg to move that head 32, recommitted and amended stand part.
Beg to second that.
The question is that head 32 as amended stand part. All honorable members in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Honorable members against, say no. Methinks the ayes have it.
Head 33, Ministry of Home Affairs and Information, as amended in the amount of $84,169,247.
Mr. Chairman, I beg to move that head 33 as amended stand part.
Beg to second that.
The question is that head 33 as amended stand part. All honorable members in favor, say aye. Honorable members against, say no. Methinks the ayes have it.
Head 35, Ministry of People Empowerment and Elder Affairs, as amended in the amount of $145,694,080.
Mr. Sherry Beckett, I hate 35 as amended. Stand.
Second that, sir.
The question is that head 35 as amended stand part. All honorable members in favor, say aye. Honorable members against, say no. Methinks the ayes have it.
Head 39, Ministry of Legal Affairs and Criminal Justice, as amended in the amount of $190,686,812.
Beg to second that.
The question is that head 39 as amended stand part. All honorable members in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Honorable members against, say no. Methinks the ayes have it.
Head 40, Ministry of Transport and Works, as amended in the amount of $159,875,427.
Mr. Chair, I beg to move that head 40 as amended stand part.
Beg to second that, sir.
The question is that head 40 as amended stand part. All honorable members in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Honorable members against, say no. Methinks the ayes have it.
Head 41, Ministry of Energy, Business Development and Consumer Affairs, recommitted and amended in the amount of $80,825,769.
Beg to move that head 41 stand part, sir, as amended.
The question is that head 41 as amended stand part. All honorable members in favor, say aye. Aye. Honorable members against, say no. Methinks the ayes have it.
Head 44, Ministry of Private and Public Investment, as amended in the amount of $61,275,006.
Mr. Chairman, I beg to move that head 44 stand part as amended.
The question is that head 44 as amended stand part. All honorable members in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Honorable members against, say no. Methinks the ayes have it.
Head 50, Post Office, as amended in the amount of 13, sorry, that is not amended, sir. Head 50 Post Office in the amount of $13,699,734.
Mr. Chairman, I beg that head 50 stand part.
Beg to second that.
The question is that head 50 stand part. All honorable members in favor, say aye. Honorable members against, say no. Methinks the ayes have it.
Head 51, Ministry of Sport and Community Empowerment, recommitted and amended in the amount of $63,470,918.
Mr. Chair, I beg that head 51 as amended stand par.
Beg to second that.
The question is that head 51 as amended stand part. All honorable members in favor, say aye. Honorable members against, say no. Methinks the ayes have it.
Head 59, Ministry of Environment and National Beautification and Fisheries, as amended, in the amount of $111,433,182.
Mr. Chairman, I beg to move that head 59 as amended stand part.
Beg to second that.
The question is that head 59 as amended stand part. All honorable members in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Honorable members against, say no. Methinks the ayes have it.
Head 63, Ministry of Technological and Vocational Training, as amended, in the amount of $270,485,620.
Mr. Chairman, I beg that head 63, as amended, stand part.
Second that, sir.
The question is that head 63 as amended stand part. All honorable members in favor, say aye. Honorable members against, say no. Methinks the ayes have it.
Head 83, Ministry of Agriculture, Food and Nutritional Security, as amended, in the amount of $94,252,383.
Mr. Chairman, I beg to move that head 83 as amended stand part.
I second that, sir.
The question is that head 83 as amended stand part. All honorable members in favor, say aye. Honorable members against, say no. Methinks the ayes have it.
Head 84, Ministry of Labor, Social Security, and Third Sector, recommitted and amended in the amount of $16,412,191.
Mr. Chairman, I beg that head 84 as amended stand part.
Beg to second that.
The question is that head 84 as amended stand part. All honorable members in favor, say aye. Honorable members against, say no. Methinks the ayes have it.
Head 86, Ministry of Health and Wellness, as amended, in the amount of $395,292,583.
Mr. Chairman, I beg to move that head 86 stand par as amended.
Beg to second that, sir.
The question is that head 86 as amended stand part. All honorable members in favor, say aye. Honorable members against, say no. Methinks the ayes have it.
Head 93, Ministry of Housing, Lands and Maintenance, recommitted and amended in the amount of $124,510,473.
Mr. Chair, I beg to move that head 93 as amended stand part.
Second.
The question is that head 93 as amended stand part. All honorable members in favor, say aye. Honorable members against, say no. Methinks the ayes have it.
Head 96, Ministry of Education Transformation, recommitted and amended in the amount of $285,429,114.
Chair, I beg to move that head 96 stand amended and stand part.
The question is that head 96 as amended stand part. All honorable members in favor, say aye. Honorable members against, say no. Methinks the ayes have it.
Clause 1.
Chair, I beg to move that clause 1 stand part.
The question is that clause 1 stand part. All honorable members in favor, say aye. Honorable members against, say no. Methinks the ayes have it.
Clause 2 as amended.
Chair, I beg to move that clause 2 as amended stand part.
The question is that clause 2 as amended stand part. All honorable members in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Honorable members against, say no. Methinks the ayes have it.
Chair, I beg to move that clause 3 stand part.
The question is that clause 3 stand part. All honorable members in favor, say aye. Honorable members against, say no. Methinks the ayes have it.
Chair, I beg to move that clause 4 stand part.
The question is that clause 4 stand part. All honorable members in favor, say aye. Honorable members against, say no. Methinks the ayes have it.
Schedule as amended.
Chair, I beg to move that the schedule as amended be the schedule to the bill.
The question is that the schedule as amended be the schedule to the bill. All honorable members in favor, say aye. Honorable members against, say no. Methinks the ayes have it.
Chair, I beg to move that you do not report to His Honor the Speaker the passing of one bill as amended in committee.
The question is that I do not report to His Honor the Speaker the passing of one bill as amended in committee. Stand par. All honorable members in favor, say aye. Honorable members against, say no. Methinks the ayes have it.
The chairman has reported progress and requests to leave to sit again. Yeah. Right, so you reported. I'm now reporting the passing of one bill in committee with amendments. Out of an abundance of caution, I wish to inform the general public that the bill that has just passed would now be uploaded immediately with all the requisite amendments. The SMS documents also.
Speaker, order number 1, to move the second reading in the name of the Honourable Minister of Finance, to move the second reading of the appropriation bill, and in accordance with Standing Orders 63.5, when the minister is moving the second reading, he's essentially delivering the budgetary proposals for 2025.
Honourable Member for Christchurch East Central.
Mr. Speaker, it is both a privilege and profound responsibility to rise in this honourable chamber to present the budgetary proposals and financial statements 2026 on behalf of the people and government of Barbados. There's an old adage, sir, that says the voice of the people is the voice of God. I thank the Almighty, our Creator, for continuing to bless Barbados and to give us the courage to face the challenges the world presents us. These are not ordinary times, sir. Around the world, nations continue to navigate uncertainty. Economic shocks, conflict, climate pressures, and supply disruptions that reach even our shores. Yet, time and time again, Barbados has shown that with faith, discipline, and unity, we can confront any challenge placed before us. I thank the good people of Christchurch East Central, who once again placed their confidence in me with overwhelming support on election day. In the weeks since, much of my time has been devoted to preparing the estimates and this budget I am presenting this afternoon. But even as national work continues, progress is visible at home. Beautification efforts are advancing across the constituency, and improvements to our road infrastructure are beginning to take shape. The role of Minister of Finance is one I carry with the utmost seriousness, but is no more important to me than the responsibility I bear as the Member of Parliament for Christchurch East Central. When I work on the finances of Barbados, I am working for every Bajan, because the decisions made in this chamber must improve life in every community, including the ones that sent me here. And for those who have not yet had the opportunity to engage with me since the election, I'm looking forward to seeing you at my next constituency clinic on Tuesday, March 24th at 2 p.m. in the afternoon. To the people of Barbados, I thank you for reposing your confidence in the candidates of the Barbados Labour Party, under the leadership of the Honourable Prime Minister, the member for St. Michael Northeast. As my longtime friend from St. Michael West can attest, sir, the results of the elections were crystal clear. Yes, Bajans believe deeply in democracy, and they believe that there must always be an opposition in a healthy democracy. But when election day came, sir, Barbadians made another point just as clearly. They chose the Barbados Labour Party to represent them in every constituency across this country. So, Mr. Speaker, sir, all of us in our seats before you in this chamber this afternoon are those members duly elected by all of the people of Barbados. We have not come to declare victory, sir. We have come to prove to the people of Barbados once again why they place that confidence in us. This budget is part of that proof that they can trust their place in this government will be matched with delivery, discipline, and decisions that move our people and this country forward. I also thank all of the staff of the Ministry of Finance who continue to do good work in the background as we continue to execute the Barbados Economic Recovery and Transformation Program. And let me say, sir, without the love and support of my wife and son, none of this would be possible. I thank them. Mr. Speaker, This 2026 budgetary proposals and financial statement marks an important turning point for Barbados. This is the first budget in the life of this administration that is not being presented whilst in an IMF program. So, sir, this means that Barbados has, in a sense, regained greater control over its economic decisions because our finances are now on stronger footing. Decisive action and discipline has put the country's public finances on a more sustainable footing after many years of fiscal indiscipline. You would recall, sir, during discussions with the social partnership last year, we indicated, however, that we shall keep the IMF on speed dial in the event of further global uncertainty, which effectively means, sir, a standby arrangement. 8 years ago, the government made a commitment to stabilize public debt by 2033-34. Our stewardship, the stewardship of the Barbados Labour Party, Mr. Speaker, has delivered. At its peak, the debt-to-GDP ratio was 178.9% in 2017-18, sir. In simple terms, the debt-to-GDP ratio measures how heavy the country's debt burden is compared to the size of the economy. The lower that ratio falls, the easier it becomes for Barbados to manage its obligations. Barbados was the third highest indebted country in the world, but with bold, decisive leadership, we successfully restructured both domestic and external debt so that more money could be spent on delivery of public services and infrastructure and less on debt service costs. During the budget speech last year, sir, I told the country that we will cross the psychological barrier of 100% debt to GDP by the end of the year. When I last reported on debt in this House in December 2025, sir, the debt to GDP stood at 99.8% at the end of October 2005. Mr. Speaker, I would have loved nothing more as a national accounts statistician, sir, to regale you with the finer points of national accounting and how GDP is measured and revised. But time does not permit me to do that this afternoon. Because when I reported to you debt of 99.8%, that was on a GDP based on 2016 prices. The Barbados Statistical Service, with the support of the IMF Fiscal Affairs Division and CARTAP, has replaced Barbados' national accounts, or GDP estimates, from its previous 2016 base to 2023. And that GDP estimate, sir, is now an estimated $16.245 billion. At the end of January 2026, sir, the stock of debt was $15.156 billion, which, if you divide by the new GDP estimate, sir, of $16.245 billion, Barbados' debt to GDP ratio is now 93.3%. Mr. Speaker, from a fiscal perspective, Barbados has turned the corner. What people should understand is that fiscal sustainability simply means the country's finances are stable enough to meet our obligations without constantly borrowing more for recurrent expenditure. This new era of fiscal sustainability has created a basis for higher economic growth. However, to take full advantage of this opportunity, fiscal credibility must be combined with accelerated reforms in the public and private sectors required to support higher economic growth and faster job creation. A critical lever to achieve higher growth is to significantly increase the level of infrastructure investment, which will also provide more and better public services. This has been our mantra from the beginning, sir. Infrastructure investment spurs growth in the short term by raising demand for inputs and workers. It also builds productive capacity to sustain longer-term growth. As we continue to improve and enhance Barbados' credit quality, the cost of borrowing, sir, required to finance Barbados' ambitious infrastructure investment has become significantly cheaper over time. Bond yields have declined. Our ability to defend the currency peg has strengthened, with reserves exceeding $3 billion. All of the major credit rating agencies have upgraded Barbados' credit rating, sir. Mr. Speaker, government's efforts to rein in the public debt and rebuild fiscal credibility has made this possible. This means that investors, lenders, and international institutions now have greater confidence in how Barbados manages its public finances. But much more is needed to unlock investment flows and to ensure faster growth. The government cannot do it alone. It has embarked over the past 7 years on a series of reforms to mobilize private sector investment and expertise for infrastructural investment. And, sir, we know that investment in infrastructure creates jobs today while strengthening the foundation for economic growth tomorrow. At the same time, we are implementing reforms with the public sector to improve project preparation and delivery. And we are committing public money to catalyze infrastructure investment and to crowd in private finance. Mr. Speaker, let me pause and indicate to the country that Barbados is now off of everybody's list. No blacklist, sir, no gray list, no orange list, no brown list. Sir, what this means is that Barbados today meets the international standards required for transparency and financial regulation. FATCA, sir, Foreign Account Tax Compliance Act, this check to prevent offshore tax evasion by U.S. citizens and green card holders. FATF, sir, Financial Action Task Force. These are the people that check for money laundering and terrorism financing. OECD, Organization of Economic Cooperation and Development. These are the people, sir, that check for tax matters. So, sir, rules that help prevent people from hiding income offshore to avoid taxes, a body that ensures that countries have systems in place to prevent money laundering and financing of terrorism, and standards that ensure that countries operate transparent and fair tax systems in the global economy. This budget shows a crucial shift in the government's own spending priorities. While spending on infrastructure is critical to building resilience and driving growth, the government is conscious that the world in which we live continues to present challenges in spite of our best efforts. Let me, at this point, sir, indicate for the benefit of the public what we just observed before I took to my feet. When you would recall, sir, the timing of the election meant that the preparation of these estimates and the assumptions for the preparation of the estimates that were originally laid in this Parliament were very different from what we have just done with respect to the updated measures. When we prepared the estimates at the beginning, sir, the assumption was that we were going to be in a stable world. And to the extent that we had made adjustments with respect to our projections for corporation tax, we made almost a $500 million adjustment to the original budget, and therefore what we have presented this afternoon prior to taking my feet are those adjustments, not just reflect the original assumptions that we would make, but to ensure that we took cognizance of the fact that since we laid those estimates, the world has changed fundamentally. And so we are here this evening to outline to the country what we will do to respond to the current challenges, notwithstanding the fact that we have always, sir, always been flexible with respect to these measures. With respect to corporation taxes, sir, we have reduced those assumptions by $200 million. And on the expenditure side, sir, we've made cuts almost up to $300 million to be able to ensure that we can still meet our ambitious targets, recognizing that the world continues to change as we speak. I turn now to the domestic economic performance. Mr. Speaker, the Barbados economy has made tremendous progress since 2018. Money is flowing in the right direction towards households and businesses and not being used to support a perpetual fiscal crisis. Notwithstanding having to navigate several climate shocks, rebounding from a global pandemic, and managing the impacts of geopolitical unrest, the government was able to provide salary increases for public sector workers on 3 occasions, reduce income taxes, increase the reverse tax credit, and reduce corporate tax for local businesses. These measures put more money in the economy, which has facilitated growth, especially for the last 18 quarters. To accommodate the growth and the spending of money on imported goods and services, copious amounts of foreign exchange have been earned, sir, from the tourism and international business sectors. As a consequence, the country has built up unprecedented levels of foreign reserves, not just from borrowing, but from the net earning of foreign exchange through private sector activity. The evidence is seen in the foreign exchange balances in the banking system, sir, not only those held by the Central Bank of Barbados. As a result of the balanced growth, economic growth, between the traded and non-traded sectors, and equally, the healthy fiscal condition of the government, job creation has accompanied the economic recovery. Mr. Speaker, the unemployment rate in Barbados at the end of December, sir, is 6.1%, the lowest level it has ever been in the history of Barbados. Mr. Speaker, when we took office, the government's capital expenditure on an annual basis was barely $200 million. There was much talk about implementation deficit disorder, as nothing seemed to get done. We have turned that around, sir. And whilst things are not perfect by any stretch of the imagination, we have improved leaps and bounds. I can report to the country, sir, that in this fiscal year, ending March 31st, 2026, we allocated approximately $540 million in capital expenditure. Our expenditure at the end of January, sir, was $426.5 million, a 79% execution rate. And our internal forecasts indicate that the government will end the fiscal year just $20 million short at $520 million, roughly 96% execution, sir. Once again, another example of your government delivering. Now, Mr. Speaker, next fiscal year, the capital expenditure target is $875 million. And we will work just as hard, sir, to reach that target. The flow of money is especially noticeable in the performance of the financial sector, where not only commercial banks, but credit unions have been growing to the extent that it has become necessary to provide deposit insurance to the subsector. Furthermore, the growth in the insurance industry, even during the crisis period, is indicative of the flow of money in the Barbados economy since the financial crisis period, the fiscal crisis period of 2009 to 18. In an economic environment filled with rapidly evolving external uncertainty, the government was able to contain inflation, keeping it at low to moderate rates, and it has used tax and non-tax measures to cushion the potential impact of faster rising import prices on Barbadian consumers. These measures meant that Barbadians forked out less money than they otherwise would have to if the government did not intervene. It is as much underappreciated strategy that the government employed and continues to employ as a barrier against externally induced shocks that are way beyond our control. There are some who have taken our success for granted, sir, demanding even more, without fully appreciating that these achievements have come at a financial cost, that our public servants have had to double down to help the country get past these hurdles, and that in the process, some citizens have come under stress, particularly those who have remained committed to helping us turn the ship of state around. But, Mr. Speaker, we are truly appreciative and guided by the principle that to whom much is given, much is expected. And that once we share the burden, sir, we shall share the bounty. When the government embarked on the Barbados Economic Recovery and Transformation Program in 2018, it had much work to undertake. Fiscal consolidation and structural reforms resulted in stronger public finances, more timely tax refund payments, and reduced central government arrears. From then until now, the consistent streamlining of government's operation has stimulated overall economic growth. The robust economic performance in 2025 solidified the country's resilience. Real GDP grew by 2.7%, on top of the 3.5% recorded in 2024. As strong gains in tourism, business services, construction, and the retail trade sectors bolstered the overall performance. In fact, sir, based on our year-to-date performance, I expect the central bank will report to the country next month 19 consecutive quarters of economic expansion. This simply means the Barbadian economy, sir, has been growing steadily for nearly 5 consecutive years. Cost of living. Mr. Speaker, notwithstanding our efforts to help lower-income workers fight cost of living through mainly tax measures, the one thing each of us in this Parliament heard very clearly from our constituents in the last election, sir, was that the cost of living, particularly prices in the supermarket, had become too much to bear for some. This is in spite of the many efforts the government has already implemented in order to shield Barbadians. After inheriting a low-growth, high-tax economy in 2018 to experiencing the COVID-19 pandemic, then the war in Ukraine, then the blockage of the Suez Canal, sir, by the cargo ship Ever Given, it feels as if Bajans cannot catch a break, sir. We get it, Mr. Speaker. We get it. The truth is, I have said to the Honourable Prime Minister that it is clear that our lot is to be in perpetual crisis mode. Not because of anything the Barbados Labour Party or Bajans have done, but because some in the rest of the world clearly do not have a clear understanding as to what is truly important to the everyday citizens of the world. Today is not the time for a lot of long talk, sir, so I will get to the meat of the matter. Barbados' relationship with energy has been and will continue to be fundamental to determine how well we live. As an example, sir, in 2019, Barbados imported $728 million in fuel. In 2020, we imported $519 million in fuel. In 2021, sir, $685.8 million in fuel. In 2022, sir, $1.122 billion in fuel, almost $400 million more than in 2019. In 2023, sir, we imported $1.01 billion in fuel, sir, almost $300 million more than in 2019. In 2024, we imported $951.7 million in fuel, sir, $223.7 million more than in 2019. And last year, sir, $728.5 million in fuel. Sir, what we have to understand is that energy prices affect everything in the economy, from electricity to transportation to shipping, which is why fuel costs have such a direct impact on the cost of living. A lot has been said in the public, social media, calling programs about how high gas prices have been in Barbados. It would have been unconscionable, sir, for the government to allow gas prices to soar in 2022 and further destabilize the economy after the shock of the COVID-19 pandemic. You and I both know, sir, a lot of people who would have cursed all of us in here if we had allowed such a thing to happen. What we did then was to cap the amount of VAT the government collected on gasoline at 47 cents and diesel at 37 cents per litre. By capping the VAT on fuel at the equivalent of the price of oil internationally at US $80 per barrel, the government limited how much tax was collected when global oil prices rose, shielding our people from even higher prices at the pump. Reducing VAT on electricity bills from 17.5% to 7.5% was one of the measures used to protect households from the full impact of rising energy prices. We also capped freight rates at the 2019 level for the purpose of calculating the customs duties. Government took this step so unusually high shipping prices will not push the taxes paid on imported goods, which would have further inflated the price of goods to the consumer. We did all of that, sir, to shield Barbadians, Barbadian businesses, with the government foregoing additional revenue in the crisis. Whilst the government was absorbing as much of the shock as possible, the Barbados National Energy Company, then known as the Barbados National Oil Company, was incurring operating losses because they were purchasing the petroleum products at a higher price than they were effectively selling into the market. A 9 cents per litre recovery fee was introduced such that they could recoup these operating losses over a 4-year period. So in a nutshell, sir, even though fuel prices fell sharply in 2025, the cumulative losses of the energy company incurred in the previous 3 years are still being collected today and will continue for at least another year on the current trajectory if left untouched. Mr. Speaker, the global oil market has experienced its most severe supply disruption in history over the past 2 weeks. Joint airstrikes on Iran on the 20th of February, followed by the near closure of the Strait of Hormuz, have sent Brent crude from US $64 per barrel in mid-February to just below US $106 per barrel today. The sharp increase, 66%, in global oil prices is a direct result of geopolitical conflict and war. And because Barbados imports its fuel, we inevitably feel that impact. But we can, and we have, taken deliberate steps to protect Barbadian households and businesses from the worst of its effects. Let me explain exactly what we have done and what else we will do, what it will cost, and what we are asking every Barbadian to do in return. Government will respond on 3 fronts, sir: securing our fuel supply and protecting electricity bills, capping prices at the pump, and addressing the implications of spiraling freight costs. First, we have already acted in the oil futures market. On government's instruction last week, our national fuel importer, the Barbados National Energy Company Limited, has locked in the price of heavy fuel oil, which powers our electricity generation, at US $92 per barrel for the next 3 months. Sir, Essentially, what the government did was to lock in the price of heavy fuel oil ahead of time to protect Barbadians from further price spikes in the international market over the next 3 months. So it is like agreeing to a fixed price today so that if prices rise tomorrow, you are protected. With the market today at almost US $106 per barrel for Brent crude, the price of heavy fuel oil will be approximately $96 per barrel, as the price runs on average approximately $10 less per barrel than Brent crude. That hedge is already saving Barbadian households and businesses approximately US $4 on every barrel of heavy fuel oil we import for electricity generation. Over the 240,000 barrels covered by the hedge over the next 3 months, 80,000 barrels per month, sir. That represents a savings of approximately US $1 million or 2 million Barbados compared to buying at today's price. And the prices are likely to continue to rise. The hedge was done not as a gamble, sir, but as insurance. It protects Barbados against future price spikes while the conflict continues. We will review again in 3 months, sir, when the hedge expires. The government will also subsidize electricity prices in addition to the hedge, sir. For context, the fuel clause adjustment is based on the actual cost of the heavy fuel oil purchased by the Barbados Light and Power. It is what causes your electricity bill, sir, to change on a monthly basis, along, of course, with your actual usage of electricity. All of the other components of the price of electricity are fixed by the rate hearing decisions. To be clear, sir, there are 4 major components to electricity bill in Barbados. 1, the customer charge. 2, the energy charge. 3, fuel cost adjustment. And 4, the VAT paid, sir. The first 2 are regulated by the Fair Trading Commission, and after lengthy hearings which occurred over 3 occasions over the last 40 years, most recently in 2022. Technically, sir, to address the cost of electricity between hearings, the government has only 2 options: the fuel clause adjustment and or the VAT. So, Mr. Speaker, with the hedge in place, with effect from April 1st, 2026, the government will absorb 50% of the increase in the fuel clause adjustment on your electricity bill above the March 2026 bill fuel clause adjustment for the next 3 months. Without that intervention, the April electricity bill for the average household would rise by an estimated $32 above what it was in March. The government is absorbing half of that difference, $16 on top of what it is doing in containing the increase through purchasing the hedge at $92 for the next 3 months. In simple terms, the government is also covering half of the electricity increase so that Barbadians do not feel the full impact of rising energy prices. A steep increase at once is disruptive, a gradual one uncomfortable, but for the most part, sir, bearable. The cost of this subsidy will be $7.9 million over the 3-month hedge window. That is the total price we are paying for the next 3 months to keep your electricity bill stable. Clearly, sir, we will review where we are in 3 months, given the volatility of the energy prices. If the government wants to influence the consumption of electricity using peak and off-peak periods so as to reduce the strain on the electricity grid during high demand periods, then it has to use the fuel clause adjustment. Given the fuel clause adjustment is the same rate across all users of electricity, a policy to influence consumption across the two periods can only come by charging a higher fuel clause adjustment during existing peak periods and a cheaper fuel clause adjustment during the off-peak period. The weighted average of the two, sir, will ensure that the required fuel clause adjustment is recovered by the Barbados Light and Power. It can work once the Barbados Light and Power has the data set and programming in place to accomplish it. This two-tiered system, sir, already exists for large manufacturers. We will work with the Barbados Light and Power to introduce in the very near future for the benefit of Barbadian households an off-peak tariff. This will balance energy demand, reduce reliance on expensive peak power plants, and lower consumer bills. Secondly, sir, we are protecting prices at the fuel pump. With effect from April 1st, 2026 until March 31st, 2027, the VAT collected on gasoline will be capped at 47 cents per litre, and the VAT collected on diesel, capped at 37 cents per litre, will be extended. In addition, with effect from April 1st, 2026, the excise charge on gasoline will be reduced for 3 months from 99.39 cents to 89.39 cents per litre, and on diesel from 44.03 cents to 34.03 cents. The Barbados National Energy Company Limited will also reduce the rate of its recovery of its 2022 losses from the 9 cents per litre to 4 cents per litre. It will mean that the period of repayment for the energy company will go beyond the remaining year that would otherwise remain. The cumulative reduction in the price of gas and fuel will be 15 cents per litre, sir, from April 1st, 2026. Our pricing scenario, sir, show that gasoline prices will not breach the $4 per litre threshold until the oil price exceeds US $110 per barrel. Let me repeat, sir. Our gasoline prices will not breach the $4 per litre threshold until the oil price exceeds US $110 per barrel. Regrettably, it is almost at US $106 today for Brent crude. We are watching these numbers daily. If the prices move significantly above those thresholds, further measures will have to be activated immediately. The VAT caps will remain in place until the 31st of March 2027, or earlier if the prices fall back to normal levels. The reduction in excise will be reviewed in 3 months. But government cannot do this alone, sir. These measures that we have taken only buy us time. They are not permanent. They are the protection for the period of the crisis, and their effectiveness depends in part on how each of us changes how we use energy. This requires a national effort, and responsible energy use by households and businesses will help reduce the pressure on the country during this period. Here's what I'm asking, sir. If you can carpool, please do. If you can combine your errands into one trip, do that too. Avoid unnecessary driving during peak hours. Where it is practical, sir, use public transportation. When it comes to electricity usage, switch off the lights, sir, and the appliances when you're not using them, or install solar lights as appropriate, sir. It sounds simple, but it really is, sir. Reduce your air conditioning where possible. When you do use it, we advise, sir, set the temperature between 24 and 25 degrees, sir. Every degree, sir, every degree lower adds significantly to your bill and to the national load. Luckily, sir, outside is still relatively cool as it's March, but as we approach summer, sir, it naturally will get hotter. Fans, sir, fans consume significantly more electricity, sir, than air conditioning units. When you do use the fan, sir, you must be careful with respect to the length of time for which you do so. These small changes on their own may seem modest, but multiplied across every home and every office in Barbados, they add up to real savings on your electricity bill and real relief, sir, on the national grid. To the commercial sector, the national energy discipline we are calling for includes you. Substitute wired lighting for solar lights and reduce cooling after business hours as appropriate. We have learned to not turn the AC off in the evening, and this will introduce other environmental challenges. So please audit your refrigeration and cooling systems. Identify where you are wasting energy and fix it. Businesses that reduce their energy footprint now will be more competitive when prices normalize. Mr. Speaker, a significant portion of our import costs is food. Rising oil prices pushes up fertilizer costs and freight costs, which pushes up food prices, sir. I'm asking you to support our farmers and buy local where you can. Start a kitchen garden, sir, if you have the space. If you think you don't have space, sir, you might consider buckets or barrels or grow bags. Let us learn to make our own fertilizer, sir, make our own compost. Every dollar kept in the local food economy, sir, is a dollar that does not depend on imported fuel to reach our table. Mr. Speaker, speculation is rife about how high oil prices will go. Some of the pundits have speculated they could range between US $150 and US $200 per barrel. Our focus, sir, these past 7 years have been to build buffers such that the country can ride out unexpected shocks. No matter how you look at it, sir, if any of these scenarios materialize, the world, which includes Barbados, sir, will likely go into recession. So let me say this clearly for our Barbadians up front. There's no fiscal response the government of Barbados could undertake on its own to absorb the impact if any of these scenarios played out. The mathematics just doesn't work, sir. The adjustment will also require a change in behavior by the government, all households, and all businesses. Earlier, sir, I indicated that we imported $519 million in fuel in 2020. You will remember, sir, that was when we were all under lockdown. Going to the supermarket on a particular day, the majority of the country was working from home, sir. Children had to attend school online, and at the same time, our tourism and large segments of the business sector were operating at bare bones. How we as a country respond to this crisis will ultimately determine, sir, the impact. It is my greatest hope that this crisis is short-lived. But hope alone has never been an effective strategy. My grandmother always told me, sir, that God helps those who help themselves. Barbados will make it, sir, once we come together, work together to achieve our collective goals. For decades, the most important component of energy in our economy has been the price of oil. It flows through every artery in the economy, directly because of the impact on energy costs, and indirectly because all production of goods and services require inputs that are in some way influenced by rising prices. The greatest factor in rising prices throughout the world economy is the price of oil. Oil is to the economy what blood is to the human body. There's a serious irony, sir, that as oil prices rise, renewable energy becomes more relevant and affordable. However, rising oil prices always suggest uncertainty and insecurity, which are the two most fundamental factors in determining the relevance of renewable energy. In this regard, no country has to be threatened, sir, by such negative factors to appreciate that it does not have to wait for rising oil prices to promote certainty and security as critical factors in its pursuit of sustainable energy growth, economic growth, and development. The day must come when it does not require an external force to guide our internal focus on what is right for our people. If ever there was a time to preach the importance of renewable energy, it is now. We must confront the regulatory hurdles that have confronted us with the expansion of renewable energy in the last 5 years. And so, sir, with that in mind, I propose that with effect from April 1st, 2026, to extend the excise and VAT holiday on electric vehicles until March 31st, 2029, with 10% on import duties. Also, with effect from April 1st, 2026, sir, the cost of replacement batteries for electric and hybrid vehicles will become eligible for the 5-year personal income tax deduction, sir. Mr. Speaker, whilst the government is actively working on containing domestic inflation through the intervention of energy, the following measures will be implemented to further ease the squeeze. After consultation with the Chamber of Commerce, Small Business Association, and other stakeholders, sir, I propose that with effect from April 1st, 2026 until March 31st, 2027, items landed in Barbados on or before April 1st, 2026, Customs and Excise will use the free on board value for the purpose of calculating customs duties and VAT on food, personal care items, and construction materials. Government is adjusting how duties are calculated so that unusually high shipping costs do not unfairly inflate the taxes paid on imported goods. It is like ensuring the tax is calculated on the item itself, not the inflated shipping costs. While some of the other measures implemented during the price compact in 2022, negotiated by the Honourable Member for St. James Central, remain in place from the government side, we will need to revisit some of the markups that went back up when it came to an end. We can only urge the private sector to revisit this along with their sourcing and pricing strategies, as any attempt to price goes in this environment will be self-defeating. We will shortly be bringing to Parliament, sir, transfer pricing legislation, which will assist in regulating the behavior of related companies. This will allow us to review the pricing structure of commodities handled by multiple related companies acting as middlemen. The government We'll also be proactive in monitoring developments, including requiring steps to be taken to facilitate real-time access to prices for the essential items identified in the basket of goods. I take this opportunity, sir, to remind Bajans, consumers, to go to Ask Delia, where they can get the best prices and stretch their dollar. I am advised, sir, by the stakeholders on average last month, a container from China was just under US $4,000. If the oil price reaches US $150 per barrel, sir, the shipping companies are predicting a fourfold increase to US $16,000 on average per container. The knock-on effect in retail is estimated at over 25% when added to the compounded effect of duty. I'm also advised, sir, that as a result of the current conflict in the Middle East, shipping lines, which rely primarily on fuel for transiting their vessels across the world, have begun to take defensive action, which will impact Barbados shortly. Local shipping agents have advised that they have received instructions implementing the 30-day notice period for the increase in the bunker surcharge. For 20-foot containers, sir, it will be going from US $200 per container to $700 US, sir, per 20-foot container. For 40-foot containers, sir, the bunker surcharge will be going from US $400 per container to US $1,400 per container. A bunker surcharge, often termed bunker adjustment factor, sir, or fuel adjustment factor, is the floating fee added to ocean freight rates to compensate carriers for fluctuating fuel or bunker prices. The purpose of the bunker surcharge is to protect shipping lines from sudden, volatile increases in oil prices. The following shipping lines have announced or implemented these surcharges. CMA CGM announced an emergency fuel surcharge effective from 23rd of March 2026. Loading dates for all trades with rates around $150 per TEU for dry and $180 per TEU for reefer on long-haul routes. MSC, the Mediterranean Shipping Company, implemented an emergency fuel surcharge on multiple routes starting 16th of March 2026, sir, today, including routes from the Mediterranean and Black Sea to Red Sea, East Africa, and the Indian subcontinent. Hapag-Lloyd, sir, announced an emergency fuel surcharge across all trades effective from 23rd March 2026, citing costs not covered by their regular marine fuel recovery mechanism. Maersk, sir, implemented a global emergency bunker surcharge effective from 25th of March 2026, price calculation date, to address fuel supply shortages alongside a temporary emergency contingency surcharge for Europe trades on the 6th of March 2026. I've taken the time, sir, to outline these issues because while the government will do its best to shield the country from the full impact of these shocks, Bajans should also have an appreciation for the full picture. I don't speak on behalf of the private sector, but I am sharing some of the issues they will be facing directly in order for all of us in this country to continue living the lifestyle to which we have become accustomed. Some consumer advocates have asked for clarity in relation to the price adjustments. So in the same way, the Light and Power uses the fuel clause adjustment to recover the fluctuation in energy prices, sir, the shipping lines have a similar stabilizing mechanism which allows us on a daily basis to go to the supermarkets and retail outlets and take things off the shelf. As you have just heard, sir, the cumulative buildup outside Barbados has already galloped. Mr. Speaker, to assist in containing further price escalation, I propose that with effect from April 1st, 2026 until March 31st, 2027, for the purpose of calculating custom duties and VAT for CIF shipments, the Custom and Excise Department will cap the value for a 20-foot container at US $3,000 and the value for a 40-foot container at US $6,000. The Customs and Excise Department will issue by March 23rd, 2026, the specific tariff headings for the free on board and the CIF shipments to all customs brokers and importers on the Asicuda World portal. From the beginning of this administration in 2018, we've always been focused on ensuring that those who earn the least, who will always face the full brunt of any shocks, that this Barbados Labour Party government find ways to ease the pressure. We reinstated the reverse tax credit from $650 back to the $1,300, as people will call it, sir, and expanded those eligible to include persons earning between $18,000 and $25,000 per year. In keeping with our manifesto covenant, sir, and especially given the unexpected escalation in global fuel prices and inflation, I am pleased to announce that for income year 2025, sir, the reverse tax credit will increase from $1,300, sir, to $1,700 for those persons, sir, earning up to $25,000 per annum. The reverse tax credits puts money back into the pockets of lower income earners to help ease the pressure of rising living costs. Mr. Speaker, we go further. For income year 2025, we will expand the reverse tax credit by raising the income level for eligibility from $25,000 to $35,000 per annum. These persons will receive a reverse tax credit of $750. This will benefit another 17,221 persons at a cost, sir, of $12.9 million. In addition, sir, with effect from income year 2025, the income limit for the compensatory income credit will increase from $35,000 to $50,000, benefiting 18,415 taxpayers at a cost, sir, of $31.7 million. The compensatory income credit helps ensure that lower and middle income earners retain more of their income through reduced tax liability. That means more money stays in the pockets of ordinary Barbadians. Mr. Speaker, these enhanced credits will be available to taxpayers as they file during the next filing season in April 2026. In 2 weeks, sir. Mr. Speaker, I take this opportunity to remind Bajans of the rationale given by the Honourable Prime Minister when this government introduced the use of these tax credits. The Barbados Labour Party government has chosen to increase tax credits instead of increasing tax allowances to always give the government more flexibility should there be a significant downturn in the economy. If at any time the government cannot afford to pay the credit, then it does not have to do so, as this will be explained to the public in that particular year. However, tax allowances are embedded directly into the tax calculation and provide less flexibility in a crisis. Mr. Speaker, at the time of preparing these estimates of revenue and expenditure, the Ministry of Finance contemplated a very different scenario than that playing out for 2026 at this time. It was our hope to go further with the tax cuts for the middle class, but the current geopolitical circumstances means that we have had to recalibrate and shield all Barbadians at the pump in their use of electricity and from the surging freight costs. Mr. Speaker, I now propose that with effect from income year 2026, the personal income tax rate for individuals earning between $25,000 and $75,000 is reduced from 12.5% to 11.5%. And for those earning above $75,000 per year, reduced from 28.5% to 27.5% at a cost of $9.7 million. Combined, these two measures return $26.1 million annually to working Barbadians, placing more disposable income in the hands of the middle class while preserving the integrity of the progressive tax structure. We would have gone further, and it is our intention to do so. But the current global environment, marked by geopolitical conflict, supply chain disruption, and rising inflation, demands that we proceed with discipline. Fiscal caution today is what protects our ability to deliver more for Barbadians tomorrow. I now turn to our pensioners, sir. Mr. Speaker, we are conscious that the investment income for all pension funds, both public and private, has not been as robust given the lack of economic growth in the last decade. Pensioners have not had increases that reflect the cost of living. Bearing in mind as well that not only are they on fixed incomes, some families have had to rely heavily, sometimes on the fixed income of the single pensioner in the household as the only stable income for which that household will get by. This government has done our part to deliver a new level of investor confidence, but the crises we have faced have also constrained our opportunity for pension income to effectively catch up with inflation. With that in mind, sir, with effect from April 1st, 2026 for 1 year, we introduced a cost of living cash credit for pensioners with income less than $50,000 per year of $100 per month, sir. This will be paid through the National Insurance and Social Security Service, who will liaise with the Barbados Revenue Authority to confirm income levels. This monthly payment provides direct assistance to pensioners whose fixed incomes have been strained by rising prices. Persons may opt to receive the cash credit quarterly, semi-annually, or annually. Eligible persons are persons receiving the contributory pension as of April 1st, 2026, person receiving survivor's benefits as of April 1st, 2026, persons receiving a non-contributory pension as of April 1st, 2026, and public officers, retired public officers receiving pension payments from the Treasury as of April 1st, 2026. Mr. Speaker, also with effect from income year 2025, the taxable allowance for pensioners will increase from $50,000 to $75,000, sir. This will cost the Treasury, sir, $11.7 million per year. As promised, sir. Mr. Speaker, all of us in this chamber know persons over 65 who are not in receipt of a pension. Many of these persons work during their productive years, but fail to make the appropriate number of contributions to get a contributory pension from the National Insurance Scheme. And as a result, would get back their contributions and interest as a one-off grant. These persons, sir, having worked, would then not receive a non-contributory pension consistent with the policy and legislation. The government is also conscious that these persons are disproportionately impacted by the increasing cost of living. As was the case with the Solidarity Allowance last year, this segment of our population should also benefit from the cost of living cash credit. I therefore propose that from April 1st, 2026, for 1 year, Barbadians over 65 not in receipt of any pension income, domestic or abroad, be eligible to receive the cost of living cash credit of $100 per month. These persons will have to present their identification to the National Insurance Scheme in order to benefit from the payment of the cost of living cash credit. Mr. Speaker, we have not forgotten those on welfare in all of this. Sir, we have already, with effect from March 1st, increased the welfare rates administered by the Social Employment Agency by 30%. In addition, I also propose that with effect from April 1st, 2026, that persons receiving welfare benefits receive the cost of living cash credit of $100 per month for 1 year. As promised, sir. The National Insurance Scheme, the National Insurance and Social Security Service, sir, will work with the Social Empowerment Agency to execute and validate these payments. I now turn to citizen security and resilience, sir. Mr. Speaker, citizen safety is the first duty of a state. No national mission, economic diversification, youth opportunity, tourism renewal, sir, or public sector modernization can succeed if communities feel unsafe. Crime and lawlessness often strains and sometimes destroys families and community cohesion, damages quality of life, discourages investment, and undermines confidence in our economy. We are all very concerned about the recent escalation of violence. What has dumbfounded many Bajans is that when we take the time to reflect on what is actually happening and why, we know that it just makes no sense. Some of our young men and women appear to lack the emotional maturity to seek alternatives to violence. This has all come at a very high cost, sir. The rate of increase in gun violence must alarm all right-thinking persons to take action within their families and communities and cooperate fully with law enforcement. Mr. Speaker, we must be honest with ourselves and admit that no government, sir, can legislate love into someone's heart, nor indeed how they value life. No matter how many police officers are recruited, sir, if some people continue to care less about themselves and their fellow man, then these types of statistics will continue to hit the front pages of our daily newspapers. The government, however, sir, will not be deterred, and we will continue to sanction those who run afoul of the law while working on strategies to prevent further social dislocation. To that end, the government will establish 2 dedicated gun courts to deal with all gun-related charges. Sir, these dedicated gun courts would allow gun-related cases to be heard more quickly and reduce the backlog in the justice system. At some point, sir, we expect to see a reduction in these numbers. But until that time comes, one of the courts will deal with offenses committed within the last year, while the second court will deal with the backlog, those offenses committed more than a year ago. The Barbados Police Service has done a wonderful job apprehending offenders, and with further digitization and training, we expect to see these and other cases being managed through the court system more efficiently. In addition, we will invest in upgrading the accommodation for our police officers over the next 3 years, starting with the construction of a new station as part of the Six Roads Civic Center. We will continue the recruitment drive to increase the complement to 1,530, and thereafter increase the establishment to 1,750 officers. To assist persons, sir, with enhancing their personal security across the country, I now propose that with effect from April 1st, 2026, to remove all customs duties and VAT from the importation of or installation of CCTV security systems and burglar alarm systems at residential properties. Mr. Speaker, you will also recall that in 2024, we changed the policy of having police officers respond to every fender bender, which wasted hundreds of police man-hours every week. Thankfully, this is no longer the case, as officials from the insurance companies now deal with these routine accidents. Whilst this policy has worked well thus far, after consultation with the General Insurance Association of Barbados, we encourage that all vehicles install a working dash cam with a minimum of 30 gigs of storage on the vehicle to assist in keeping order on the road, as well as easy adjudication when accidents occur. We will encourage insurance companies to give a benefit where the dash cams are installed. The cost of these dash cams, sir, vary depending on the level of sophistication, with most being front-facing, whilst others have both front and rear views. Some, sir, even have built-in GPS with Google Maps. Whatever drivers choose to purchase, sir, I propose that with effect from April 1st, 2026 for 1 year, that all purchases of dash cams and GPS devices for installation on all vehicles be duty and VAT-free on importation to Barbados. I also propose, sir, that with effect from April 1st, 2027, purchases of dash cams and GPS devices will be subject to the new de minimis exemption rule, which we'll outline later. Sir, the President of Barbados, in his inauguration address, committed to the creation of a program that will encourage and mobilize Bajans to mentor other young people, especially those considered to be at risk. His Excellency named it the Chapman Challenge. To assist in this regard, sir, we will allocate the sum of $500,000 to cover the cost of secretariat duties to ensure that this can become a reality. In addition, sir, this government committed in a manifesto to establish a fund of $5 million to encourage our churches and faith-based organizations to develop community-based programs to secure the future of our children and young people. The Minister of Religious Affairs will outline the government's arrangements for the administration of this fund. These two initiatives, sir, are not exhaustive. It is expected that the National Peace Program will continue to review other proposals for support as part of a rigorous national crime prevention program. Global Youth Fund, sir, and SOMOS. Mr. Speaker, in addition to the programs outlined above, we continue to ramp up the numbers in the Barbados Youth Advance Corps to 1,000 students per year, along with scaling other youth programs. The Minister of Education has already announced the intention to make participation in a uniform activity, service club, or cultural or sporting group mandatory as part of the core curriculum from September 2026. It is this government's intention, sir, to ensure there is always something constructive for young people to do. If you find yourself doing nothing when the day comes, sir, you are definitely surrounded by the wrong people. We will, as promised, in a manifesto, introduce the Secondary Schools Students International Exposure Initiative. Starting at age 15, students who cannot afford it will be able to access funding from the Global Youth Beijing's Fund to spend up to 1 month in another country, studying the economy, culture, education, business, and other infrastructure standards. The initial seeding of the Global Young Beijing Fund will be $2 million in the first instance. Prime Minister, the Honourable Member for St. Michael North-East, often reminds us that we must be global citizens with Beijing roots. And the Global Young Beijing Fund ensures that our young people can carry those roots wherever opportunity takes them. Sir, the Development Bank for Latin America and the Caribbean, known as CAF, sir, through the Ministry of Finance, has launched a program called SOMOS, which stands for Spanish Opens More Opportunities, to promote Spanish as a foreign language in Barbados and to strengthen cultural, education, and economic links between Latin America and the Caribbean. We are working collaboratively to promote this program with various ministries and government agencies and stakeholders from academia and the private sector. This SOMOS program, sir, has the full support of the governments of Argentina, Colombia, Cuba, Panama, and Venezuela. Mr. Speaker, one of the components of SOMOS is a study visit to Panama for 15 Barbadian upper secondary school students, offering first-hand experience of the benefit of Spanish proficiency and intercultural exchange. This activity builds on CAF's experience promoting foreign language initiatives in Panama and Trinidad and Tobago. 15 students, sir, from the St. Leonard's Boys School and 2 of their teachers, along with 6 other Spanish teachers from across the education system, will travel to Panama in April 2026, sir, to participate in the first SOMOS pilot. On behalf of the people of Barbados, sir, I thank CAF for working with us to provide this opportunity to expose these young men to a different cultural experience. I have a dream, sir, of seeing the 100 Boys Choir from St. Leonard's Boys touring concert halls and communities across Latin America, using their God-given Bajan talent, forging lasting partnerships, earning foreign exchange, whilst demonstrating their global citizenship with Bajan roots. We will work to expand the SOMOS across the rest of the school system in support of the objectives, sir, of the Global Youth Beijing Fund. On health, sir, we've already committed $400 million expansion of the QEH, resulting in a 40% increase in footprint on the Enmore site, which will include, sir, a state-of-the-art oncology facility, expanded clinical and administrative spaces, connecting bridge, outpatient department, burns and ICU unit, sir, laboratory, general wards, and a creche. We will construct, sir, a new Eunice Gibson Polyclinic and Randall Phillips Polyclinic, whilst significant refurbishment on the remaining 7 polyclinics under the Polyclinic Upgrade and Refurbishment Project takes place. We are retraining staff and recruiting more staff. Critical equipment is being acquired and upgraded, along with greater use of technology and re-engineering of processes should significantly improve the delivery of healthcare across the country. The significant human toil caused by NCD, sir, non-communicable diseases, in terms of healthy life years lost, is coupled with the staggering economic costs as premature death and disability reduce human capital and decrease productivity. while simultaneously increasing prevention and treatment costs for people, communities, and the country. It is a challenge, sir, that we must confront. I know, sir, that I can financially engineer any solution, but it takes discipline and a will to change our individual lifestyles. To that end, sir, tomorrow morning at 10:30, I will be meeting with the representative of the Inter-American Development Bank, the Caribbean Development Bank, sir, the Development Bank for Latin America and the Caribbean, CAF, sir, and the International Bank for Reconstruction and Development, the World Bank, sir, with a view to executing Barbados' third debt swap during the third quarter of this year. The proceeds of the swap, sir, will target healthcare interventions as well as the culture around how we eat, drink, and exercise, sir. As I said earlier, sir, financial engineering is the easy part. It is whether we, as a people, sir, will heed the call. I now address a few initiatives, sir, to further enhance growth in key sectors. Within agriculture, sir, we will continue the program to bring the once abandoned Clico-owned plantation lands back into production. The Ministry of Agriculture, Food and Nutritional Security will prioritize investment in climate-smart agriculture, freight container farms, greenhouses, and hydroponic and aquaponic systems, which together with formal training in agricultural practices and business management for young people, we can be assured of greater yields to deliver a genuine return on investment. The completion of the tissue culture laboratory very shortly is pivotal to Barbados agricultural sector reaching its pinnacle. As bees, sir, we understand our role in making a better life for our people. We also understand, sir, the importance of providing sound economic management such that our ordinary citizens can reap the harvest. Sir, we know that apiculture simply refers to beekeeping, which plays a critical role in pollinating crops and improving agricultural yields. A healthy bee population, sir, is essential to national agricultural systems and ecological stability, economic stability, and fiscal discipline, sir. Bees, sir, contribute to national food security, as they are responsible for pollinating upwards of 80% of all crops and are therefore important to improving yields and crop diversity. Beyond honey production, apiculture supports a range of other industries, including cosmetics, health products, agro-processing, and tourism-related markets. These industries present opportunities for diversification and value-added economic activity within the Barbados agricultural sector. However, the apiculture sector in Barbados remains highly dependent on a wide range of imported equipment and supplies, including beehives, frames, wax foundation, protective gear, and extraction equipment. This makes the sector highly vulnerable to global supply and price disruptions. To further support this fledgling sector, sir, that has the ability to empower young people and other vulnerable groups, I now propose that with effect from April 1st, 2026, to create a rebate of 50% up to a maximum of $5,000 per year be instituted on approved apiary inputs, such as full beehives, frames, foundations, smokers, and hive tools. The Ministry of Agriculture, sir, Food and Nutrition Security will work with Export Barbados to examine the local manufacture of protective clothing for the sector, cutting costs and opening a new stream of income for creative entrepreneurs. The ministry, sir, will also work with Export Barbados to contract buy from our beekeepers and brand this honey for commercial distribution, recognizing, sir, that honey does not spoil. The world, sir, is awash with fake honey. Public education will be critical in this area. A targeted extension services program will also be undertaken to strengthen the sustainability of the sector. Mr. Speaker, feed and fertilizers are essential inputs for the agricultural sector, but are highly vulnerable to external price shocks, as we are seeing yet again. In many instances, feed prices have been described as a major driver of unsustainable high production costs. Livestock feeds alone represents approximately 75% of production costs for some producers. To mitigate these, the government has previously provided price support for feed, such as a $2 million subsidy to a local manufacturer to help stabilize prices. Efforts to develop alternative feed sources recently undertaken by the Ministry of Agriculture has led to the development of pellets made from grass, which can be used in times of drought when grass is deficient. To support this effort, sir, I propose that with effect from April 1st, an annual rebate of up to $5,000 for initiatives that utilize organic materials for fertilizer and plant and animal inputs. This initiative will reduce dependence, sir, on imported chemical inputs and promote soil health and long-term productivity. This will promote lower production costs over time and new agribusiness opportunities. Mr. Speaker, extreme heat is the cause of massive deaths in the poultry sector. Hundreds of thousands of chickens die due to extreme temperatures and heat stress annually. This severely impacts small farmers with limited infrastructure, resulting in substantial economic loss. The Barbados Agricultural Society has piloted a project using a special paint designed to reduce heat and energy stress, effectively boosting growth rates and the welfare of the birds. I therefore propose that from April 1st, 2026, to introduce a 100% rebate on the costs up to a maximum of $15,000 for small farmers to participate over the next 2 years. After this initial 2-year period, the rebate will be 50%, up to a maximum, sir, available every 3 years. Mr. Speaker, also in an effort to help farmers address the challenge of prairie larceny, the government moved to incentivize the use of security cameras and other security equipment. Currently, a one-time rebate of 50% of the costs, up to a maximum of $10,000, is provided for an approved farm security system to protect against prairie larceny. I now propose that with effect from April 1st, 2026, the threshold for this rebate for farm security, sir, be increased from $10,000 to $15,000. The system may be physical, electrical, electronic, or any other kind, which does not breach the laws of Barbados and meets the requirements of the Ministry of Agriculture. This proposal will further support by the implementation of the Protection of Products Act 2022. The Ministry will also be engaging with the Barbados Police Service to further cooperation on this matter and is set to roll out an aggressive campaign to educate consumers and households. Since the pandemic, when we were in lockdown, sir, Bajans have shifted to online shopping, which seems not to be abating. Given the external environment and the attending cost of living measures, sir, I propose that with effect from April 1st, 2026, goods landed in Barbados for personal use, delivered via registered courier and postal shipments, will be as follows. 1, there will be an increase in the de minimis threshold for duty and VAT-free importation value from $60 to $150 free on board. Goods valued between $150.01, sir, and $199.99, sir, will be free on board, duty-free, but VAT will apply. 3, sir, goods valued over $200 will be free on board, and customs, duties, and VAT will apply. The de minimis exemption for goods, sir, do not include alcoholic beverages, cannabis products, vaping products, sir, cigars, cigarettes, and manufactured tobacco from the de minimis exemption regardless of value. Sir, 5, a $500 fine will be imposed for false declaration, sir, and under invoicing plus the assessed duty. For the avoidance of any doubt, sir, importation of firearms of any type without a license, whole or in part, ammunition of any caliber, drugs, whether cannabis, cocaine, heroin, crack, methamphetamine, etc., sir, for the purpose of this regime, do not constitute personal use items. Importation of pharmaceuticals must be accompanied with a prescription from a registered physician or an import license from the Barbados Drug Service. Micro and small businesses, sir. Within the micro and small business sector, with effect from April 1st, 2026, sir, the loan limit for the Trust Fund Limited will increase from $10,000, sir, to $20,000. This will provide greater access to financing, sir, for those enterprises to further enhance their credit history as they continue growing their businesses. Additionally, to further ease the administrative burden on the small business sector, with effect from October 1st, 2026, sir, I propose to increase the VAT registration threshold for small businesses from $200,000, sir, to $350,000, sir. The Ministry of Energy, Business and Consumer Affairs, sir, will establish the legal framework for a collateral registry, which will allow more businesses without fixed assets greater access to financing. To further assist the small business sector with greater access to financing, sir, the Ministry of Finance will also establish a factoring facility capitalized at $3 million to provide small businesses with greater access to working capital financing. The Ministry of Finance will engage the Central Bank of Barbados on the administrative arrangements for hosting the facility, with details to be confirmed and communicated to the small business sector in short order. The Small Business Association, sir, will also assist here with the promotion and oversight of the facility to ensure small businesses utilize the facility as intended. Mr. Speaker, as it relates to credit unions, the drafting of deposit insurance legislation is at an advanced stage, which I hope, sir, to be able to debate in this chamber before the end of May. I take this opportunity, sir, to reiterate government's commitment to enact this legislation for credit unions and the commitment of $1.2 million to initially capitalize the fund, sir. Within tourism, sir, there are properties who were granted concessions under the Tourism Development Act for 15 years, which are about to expire, and there are no legal provisions in place for extension. Representation has been made to the Ministry of Finance on this matter through the Minister of Tourism, as well as the Barbados Hotel and Tourism Association. Taking the impact of the COVID-19 pandemic during 2020 to 2022 on the sector and the economy, I propose that with effect from April 1st, 2026, that all tourism properties with concessions issued under the Tourism Development Act on or after January 1st, 2005 will be granted an automatic 3-year extension to their concession agreement. Properties with concession issued on or after April 1st, 2020 are not eligible for the automatic extension. Also, sir, with effect from July 1st, 2026, rental car companies will be designated as an eligible tourism service provider under Section 3.2 of the Tourism Levy Act, subject to criteria such as VAT registration, national insurance, as well as tax compliance, vehicle licensing and inspection, routine maintenance schedule, and receipt of at least 60% of revenue originating from foreign sources and evidence of that being deposited into the banking system. Also, sir, with effect from July 1st, 2026, approved rental car companies will be eligible for duty, excise, and VAT exemption on hybrid and electric vehicles and associated charging infrastructure imported every 5 years to encourage environmental sustainable fleet upgrades. In addition, sir, with effect from July 1st, 2026, value-added tax for eligible car rental companies will be reduced from 17.5%, sir, to 10%, in line with the rest of the tourism industry. Also, with effect from July 1st, sir, stand-alone restaurants will access, sir, duty-free concessions on spirits under Section 15.3 and 4 of the Tourism Development Act, sir. Mr. Speaker, Hurricane Beryl had a significant impact on the maritime sector. The government, through the Bridgetown Port, expended almost $50 million in emergency repairs to the port facilities and the Bridgetown Fishing Harbor. The newly constructed breakwater in the fishing harbor represents significant and essential public capital investment. It does not address the issue of congestion, which will have to be addressed later this year as we explore alternative sites for the construction of a new fishing harbor for Bridgetown. Without offshore impact protection, vessel surge caused by adverse and shifting sea conditions increases the risk of structural damage, emergency repair expenditure, and operational shutdown periods. Even temporary dock closure would halt charter departures, fishing operations, and related supply chain activities. To remedy this situation, sir, the Bridgetown Port will install strategically placed concrete-filled protective pylons. These preventative marine fender systems are considerably more cost-effective than structural reconstruction. This measure protects uninterrupted tourism revenue flow and reduces government exposure to emergency capital allocations and insurance claims. This is asset preservation through preventative infrastructural investment. In addition, sir, the port will install marine-grade navigational lighting to enhance safe approach into berths during low visibility and night operation. Night charters, sir, will extend tourism revenue beyond daylight hours, while fishing vessels, sir, which now rely on safe pre-dawn departures and return will also benefit. Improved lighting reduces collision risk, limits liability exposure, and supports the safe expansion of evening tourism activities. It strengthens Barbados' reputation as a professionally managed maritime destination. Safe operation enables, sir, longer revenue windows. Further strengthening and reinforcement of existing dock infrastructure will be undertaken as entertainment and pleasure craft and pleasure vehicles carry substantial passenger volumes per departure. Mooring strain during surge conditions places stress on the bollards, cleats, and concrete structures. These upgrades in reinforcement prevent litigation exposure, sir, protect the tourism reputation of the country, and ensure operational continuity during peak cruise and holiday seasons. Infrastructure upgrades must match, sir, the economic demand placed upon it. And lastly, improved lighting of the car park and environs is good for business in general, sir. Evening charters increases visitor spending and economic activity. Inadequate lighting creates security risks, reduce customer confidence, and may contribute to higher insurance premiums. The Bridgetown Port, sir, will work with the Barbados Tourism Investment, Inc. to enhance the lighting across the maritime facilities, which not only improves visitor safety perception, but encourages extended evening bookings, protects the tourism brand, and supports employment retention within the sector. In 2023, 24, and 25, sir, the arrivals from CARICOM were 88,524, 92,706, and 98,336 passengers, respectively. This increase is attributed to the enhanced airlift from Caribbean Airlines, Winair, and Inter-Caribbean Airways, bolstered by the reduction in the airport service charge. Given the success of this program in incentivizing regional travel to Barbados, I propose that with effect from July 1st, 2026 to June 30th, 2027, that the air travel and tourism development fee for regional passengers will be reduced from US $35 to US $20, sir. This will cost approximately, sir, $2.8 million. And lastly, sir, in this section, we will establish, sir, a national commission and a national competitiveness and productivity commission, which will be co-chaired by Tricia Tannis and Tony Moore. Its mandate will be to review the competitiveness of the Barbados economy in accordance with BERT 3.0. This will inevitably include competitiveness of our tourism sector, which still remains the mainstay of our economy, and for which there has been no serious analysis since the COVID-19 pandemic decimated the industry. We expect the Commission to recommend how best to keep the issues of competitiveness and productivity uppermost in Bajan's minds and behavior, as no one owes us a living. They will make recommendations to the government and social partnership on further reforms to be undertaken to unlock investment, create jobs, and earn or save foreign exchange. Beneficial ownership, sir. Mr. Speaker, beneficial ownership refers to the natural persons who ultimately own or control the financial benefits of a company or its assets. Knowledge of the beneficial owner of a company is critical if we are going to increase our corporate transparency and effectively fight money laundering, tax evasion, and financing of terrorism. In several jurisdictions around the world, public registers are being created in order to enable authorities to identify the real people behind complex corporate structures. The beneficial owner is therefore distinct from the legal owner of a company, in that the legal owner is simply the person or entity listed on legal documentation. The Cabinet of Barbados has, during the past week, approved a policy paper which will now enable us to institute in Barbados a beneficial ownership register in order to enable this country to identify the individuals who actually ultimately own or control the corporations and corporate structures registered in Barbados. This process is necessary if we seriously intend to enhance corporate governance in Barbados and to increase accountability, while at the same time making it harder to use shell companies in order to evade taxes or sanctions. The work required to implement this new beneficial ownership framework will be done in phases. The first will be the legal drafting, with the introduction of appropriate sanctions, administrative, pecuniary, and investigative penalties, together with authorization of the sharing of information with domestic and international competent authorities. The second phase will be one of digital implementation, which will require specialized IT systems, architecture, in order to ensure data integrity and on-premise security, ensuring robust protection against cyber intrusions, data breaches, and other threats. After we do this, sir, we will ensure the establishment and authorization of a business compliance unit, which will be established as a filing intermediary for companies who do not fall under a corporate or trust service provider. Among these will include the over 10,000 micro, small, and medium-sized enterprises in Barbados. Our target, Mr. Speaker, is for the Barbados Beneficial Ownership Framework to be functional by May 2027. Reindustrialization and the Green Industrialization Gateway Advantage. Mr. Speaker, we celebrate 60 years of independence this year and 5 years as a new republic. Today, we take a decisive step towards building the next chapter of Barbados' economic story. In recent decades, our economy has been anchored by tourism and financial services. These sectors have served us well, and they will continue to be vital to our national prosperity. But the global economy has changed, sir, rapidly, fundamentally, and irreversibly. Artificial intelligence, renewable energy, and advanced manufacturing are reshaping the very nature of wealth creation. New technologies are opening opportunities that were, until very recently, unimaginable for small states. Barbados has always been a nation that punches above its weight. We have done it in diplomacy, and more recently with the Bridgetown Initiative. We've done it in sport with a national hero, the Right Excellent Sir Garfield Sobers. We've done it in culture, sir, with another national hero, the Right Excellent Robin Rihanna Fenty. Now, sir, we must do it in industry. It is with this conviction that the government of Barbados announces the launch of a new national program, the Green Industrialization Gateway Advantage, otherwise known as GIGA. The GIGA strategy, led by Export Barbados, will reposition Barbados as a hub for advanced manufacturing and agro-processing, artificial intelligence infrastructure, life sciences, and global digital services. It is the government's plan to develop new industries such as manufacturing, advanced manufacturing, technology, and agro-processing to strengthen and diversify the Barbadian economy. Simply put, it is about building a new engine for economic growth. It will organize Barbados into 4 interconnected industrial corridors, stretching from the north of the island to the south, from the Atlantic coast to the Caribbean Sea, and anchored by 6 specialized industrial zones. Mr. Speaker, the GIGA strategy will create thousands of new high-value jobs for Barbadians. It will expand our export earnings from about US $700 million today to a projected $4 to $6 billion annually within a decade. Simultaneously, sir, it will create the industrial sector's contribution, it will increase, the industrial sector's contribution to our GDP from less than 6% today to up to 25% within 10 years. These are not aspirations, sir. They are targets, grounding in existing infrastructure, identified investment pipelines, and the proven capacity of the Barbadian people. Through the Giga strategy, Barbados will become the green industrial gateway of the Atlantic. Economic Growth and Diversification Fund, sir. Mr. Speaker, every year, the amount of revenue foregone through concessions has reached $850 million compared to just over $500 million in 2018 when we assumed office. Part of this story, sir, is related to government's expanded capital works program and a significant increase in both foreign direct investment and local investment, further driving capital formation in the country. If you doubt me, sir, look at the number of cranes all across Barbados, from the West Coast, sir, to the South Coast, and right here in Bridgetown, sir. All signs of increased investor confidence. Having said that, sir, it is absolutely imperative that we work to expand our tax base and to further diversify our economy. That is why last year, sir, we created the Economic Growth and Diversification Fund. We have allocated $75 million for fiscal year 2026-27 to achieve said objective. But this is likely to increase given the new way of doing business. Adapting our approach and being more purpose-driven will turn out to be more cost-effective in the end, as it is less than 10% of what we are already foregoing in revenue on an annual basis. Part of the strategy for diversification, sir, is to kickstart the film industry. Remember, sir, I said part. We believe this shift will provide significant returns for the local creative sector as we unlock opportunities that would not ordinarily come to Barbados at scale. I will come back to that shortly, sir. Equally, sir, to ensure that our Giga initiatives become a live reality for Barbadians through Invest Barbados and Export Barbados, we will strategically target and pursue companies in remote worker and digital services, advanced manufacturing, sir, pharmaceuticals and life sciences, food processing and agri-industry, and infrastructure services. Mr. Speaker, the government also believes that Barbados must claim its space in the global creative economy. Across the world, countries that attract film and television production do so through carefully structured incentives that allow producers to recover a portion of their local spending. These incentives encourage companies to spend in the host country on accommodation, transport, services, local labor, and creative talent, allowing that expenditure, sir, to circulate throughout the domestic economy. Barbados will therefore move to establish a competitive film production framework designed to attract international productions whilst ensuring that Barbadians benefit directly from the industry's growth. Under this regime, productions filming in Barbados will be eligible for tiered cash rebates for up to 25% of qualifying local expenditure, with additional incentives also available which can carry the rebate up to 40%. Productions that hire Barbadian professionals or partner with local producers will qualify for a cultural practitioner's top-up, while productions that highlight Barbados' heritage, landmarks, and national symbols may benefit from a cultural contribution top-up. In this way, when Barbados hosts a production, it becomes more than a location. It becomes a place where skills are developed, talent is discovered, and our stories and culture are shared with the world. Mr. Speaker, I am pleased to report that even before the full regime is operationalized, Invest Barbados is already processing requests for 2 major international productions that will bring significant economic activity to the island and place Barbados before a global audience. These productions will generate opportunities for our technicians, creatives, service providers, and entrepreneurs, while strengthening the Film in Barbados brand in international markets. As part of our broad strategy to position Barbados as a regional center for film and creative industries, government will move to establish a Barbados Film Festival in partnership with an international organization, with the first edition planned for November 2026. This initiative will focus on films from the African and Caribbean diaspora globally. It forms part of our wider effort to build a sustainable ecosystem for creative production in Barbados, one that expands opportunities for Barbadian talent while strengthening tourism, investment, and cultural industries across our economy. The funds for the Barbados Film Festival are already in the estimates for 2026-27. I now turn to labor skills and the digital economy, sir. The National Growth Council commissioned a labor skills assessment for the digital economy in Barbados, which was conducted, sir, by the Inter-American Development Bank. The results showed that, on average, 47.2% of workers across all occupations lack at least some of the digital skills required for their roles, indicating a substantial internal digital skills gap. The findings also reveal, sir, that 80% of firms interviewed indicated that their non-ICT staff, which is information and communication technology staff, need to strengthen their digital competencies. Among those that reported such a need, an average of 70% of staff were estimated to require upskilling, reinforcing the presence of a substantial internal digital skills gap, particularly among individuals in non-digitally oriented occupations who nonetheless rely on digital tools to perform their daily tasks. The results, sir, also indicate that data management and analysis skills were the most frequently cited area for improvement, with 70% of organizations reporting that it would be useful for their staff to enhance their proficiency in this domain. Basic digital security, sir, was also highlighted by 50% of firms, while 55% of respondents identified a need for staff upskilling in generative artificial intelligence tools. There are a lot more nuggets in the report, sir, but I think you get the message. Mr. Speaker, I lay the report, the Barbados Labor Skills and Assessment for the Digital Economy, in Parliament for all to read and digest. The report, sir, makes 6 recommendations, and I obviously can't go into all, but 1, strengthening basic and intermediate digital skills among existing workers. 2, improving the alignment and relevance of the training ecosystem. 3, supporting firms in adopting advanced technologies. 4, improving matching for digital roles. 5, balancing the supply of advanced digital skills with labor market demand. And 6, sir, building digital foundations for future generations. Time does not permit me to go into all of the details, sir, but this is just as important to the future of this country as we are pursuing the building of climate resilience. Mr. Speaker, we will repurpose the retraining account of the National Insurance and Social Security Service Board, which currently has a balance of $3.1 million, to start addressing the digital skills gap across the workforce. To urgently address the digital skills gap, we will expand the approved training entities to include the National Transformation Initiative, the Barbados Workers Union Labour College, the National Public Workers Academy, and the Barbados Community College to engage both the private and public sector agencies and companies. Mr. Speaker, this expansion of approved training institutions is part of a deliberate national effort to prepare Barbadians for the economy that is unfolding right before our very eyes. Recent analysis shows that nearly 80% of firms believe that their non-ICT staff need stronger digital competencies. And within those firms, an estimated 70% of workers require some level of digital upskilling. Mr. Speaker, this is about more than digitization alone. It is about ensuring that our people are ready for the green transition that is now reshaping economies, industries, and jobs across the world. In other words, sir, the digital revolution is already here, and we must ensure that Barbadians are not spectators to it, but participants and leaders within it. The message I send today to employers is clear, sir. Workers must become more confident in managing and analyzing data, in protecting digital systems, and in using new tools such as generative AI that are rapidly transforming the way businesses operate. These are not skills for a distant future, sir. They are skills required for today's workplace. And if Barbados is to compete, innovate, and thrive, we must make it easier, faster, and more accessible for our people to acquire them. That is why the inclusion of the National Transformation Initiative, the Barbados Workers Union Labour College, the Public Workers Academy of the National Union of Public Workers, and the Barbados Community College is so important. These institutions already sit at the intersection of learning, labor, and national development. By expanding the network of approved training entities, we are creating a powerful partnership between government, labor, and education to accelerate the digital readiness of our workforce for a more digital and greener economy. Mr. Speaker, this is how we ensure that the Barbadian worker remains adaptable, empowered, and fully equipped to succeed in a modern economy. To help support this effort, sir, I propose that with effect from income year 2026, an extension of the 100% tax credit to businesses for digitization and business process reengineering for a period of 2 years. We will provide access, sir, to the retraining account from which we will contribute 75% of the cost of training and ask employers to contribute the remaining 25%, sir. Mr. Speaker, Nelson Mandela once said, "It always seems impossible until it is done." Barbados is on a mission, sir. Let us get it done. Revitalization of Bridgetown, sir. Mr. Speaker, no matter where you go in the world, one's capital city is an expression of its culture. When we took office in 2018, the conditions in Bridgetown had deteriorated to a point, sir, where there was little or no investment taking place in the city. We felt that if we were going to successfully execute the program, sir, that Bridgetown had to be revitalized and recapitalized in order to demonstrate how urban regeneration can work in a small island developing state like Barbados. Bridgetown. Bridgetown, sir. Bridgetown, sir, will celebrate 400 years of its establishment in 2028. And therefore, we must pivot, sir, and reestablish our capital city as the heritage capital of the Caribbean, a regional hub, a regional business and financial hub, home for Bajans and visitors alike, and a cultural and culinary destination. Mr. Speaker, let me remind the country that we didn't just wake up this morning to decide that we needed to do this strategic redirection. In spite of being in an IMF program, sir, we prioritized the improvement of some of the public infrastructure in Bridgetown. We started with the demolition of the old NAS building, sir, and replaced it with the resplendent Golden Square Park to celebrate. Which celebrates, sir, the 1937 disturbances, which ushered in a new
1937 rebellion.
Let me rephrase, sir. We started with the demolition of the old NAS building, replaced it with the resplendent Golden Square Park, sir, to celebrate the 1937 rebellion, which ushered in a new era of social and economic development in Barbados. The upgrade of the Fairchild Street Market, sir, has been completed. Notwithstanding, sir, and this is important,
Very important.
Notwithstanding, sir, the absence of locks on your head, sir, I know, sir, that you will be extremely happy to know that the government has almost finished the upgrade of the Temple Yard facility, sir. Where for decades, sir, our Rastafari community operated without access to running water, and in conditions, sir, not befitting of their struggle to demonstrate true freedom from Babylon's system, sir. In addition, the government has sourced financing, sir, from the Saudi Fund for Development to accelerate the urban regeneration program, sir. The revitalization exercise in Bridgetown and the greater Bridgetown area will focus on inner city, low to medium income neighborhoods, such as Cat's Castle, Greenfield, Nelson and Wellington Street, sir, Chapman Lane, and its environs, the boundaries of President Kennedy Drive, Westbury Road, Baxter's Road, and Mason Hall Street, sir. It would also include areas from Tudor Street to the Delaware Clinic and Gemmett's Lane, sir, to the Bayland. Phase 1 will cover Chapman Lane and its environs. Phase 2, Tudor Street to Gemmett's Lane. And Phase 3 will cover Delaware Clinic to Gemmett's Lane, Gemmett's Lane to Bayland. This cumulative increase in public investment, sir, has spurred the confidence within the private sector, and we are seeing the new investment across Bridgetown. The African Export-Import Bank, sir, will establish its headquarters, an international trade center and hotel at Gemmett's Lane, sir, and as part of the planning obligations, will put $7 million Barbados dollars into the Urban Development Fund to assist with the upgrade of the upgrades of the housing, accommodation, and public infrastructure in the adjacent communities of Commerce Street and its environs, sir. One day. Mr. Speaker, this is what making a better life for your people look like, sir. In addition, the government, through the Prime Minister's Office, Economic Affairs and Investment Ministry, sir, and the Member of Parliament for Bridgetown will work with the Barbados Chamber of Commerce and Industry and other stakeholders to establish a public-private partnership agency to oversee the revitalization of Bridgetown efforts, sir. Traffic congestion, sir. Mr. Speaker, Barbadians must come to grips with the fact that poor decision-making and lack of foresight continues to cost our citizens dearly. Under the late Tom Adams, sir, when the now ABC Highway was conceptualized to connect the airport to the seaport and to act as a primary artery bypassing the greater Bridgetown area and built, it was originally supposed to have been 4 lanes, sir, with construction beginning in the mid-80s. The government changed in 1986, sir, and by the time the highway was completed in 1989, the ABC Highway ended up with some sections having 4 lanes, but a large section only having 2 lanes, sir. Fast forward almost 20 years, sir, and faced with what we thought was traffic congestion then, the late OIN officer in 2006 commenced the expansion of the highway with proposed flyovers as part of the traffic solution. Work started, sir. Things were going as planned. The government changed in 2008, and everything got cat's-paddled, sir, by the late Prime Minister David Thompson, who fired the contractors on this very floor of Parliament. Some might view this, sir, as good politics, but Bajans, sir, have paid a heavy price for it. A little over $20 million have already been paid out in damages, and today, no alternative solution was put in place. And the traffic, sir, is choking us everywhere we turn. Mr. Speaker, it is now 2026, and it is my hope that Barbadians will take note and realize that one party has always been planning ahead. Whether it is Tom, OIN, or Mia, that has always been the philosophy of the Barbados Labour Party, planning ahead. With that in mind, sir, the Ministry of Transport and Works will commence a national consultation on traffic, starting on Monday, March 23rd at Dighton Griffith Secondary School, sir, Kingston in Christchurch, and I will be there. Wednesday, March 25th at Princess Margaret Secondary School, 6 Roads in St. Philip, sir. Monday, March 30th at the St. Michael's School, Marindales Road, St. Michael's, sir. And Wednesday, April 1st at the Alexandra School, Spikestown, St. Peter, sir. All meetings, sir, start at 6:30, and members of the public are invited. Mr. Speaker, last Thursday, the Cabinet of Barbados agreed to re-engage the original company, who has already done all of the design work on the path forward for the construction of overpasses. Additionally, sir, we will start the planning No. Yeah, I got it. Additionally, sir, we will start the planning for the widening of Highway 2A and other parts of the ABC Highway. Had we executed on the original specifications and timelines, Barbados in 2026 will be having a different conversation, sir, about traffic. Without having to do work today that should have been completed 40 years ago and 20 years ago, respectively. And don't forget, sir, the significant increase in associated costs of executing those works in today's money compared to previous periods. Mr. Speaker, I really hope we will solve the problem this time and that someone else in 20 years' time would not be here lamenting what I just described. De-risking mortgages, sir, for low-income earners. Mr. Speaker, this government is fully committed to the fulfillment of home ownership and enfranchisement in Barbados. Over the course of the next few months, our efforts will focus on the key underwriting practices to unlock this segment of the housing market, outlined as follows. We'll be looking at alternative credit assessment, sir, flexible debt-to-income ratios, down payment assistance programs, subsidized interest rates, extended loan terms, sir, and home ownership counseling and education. Some combination of the above, sir, along with cooperation and discipline, will see more Barbadians, sir, getting on the property ladder. Special needs, sir. Mr. Speaker, this government's record with respect to persons with disabilities has been strong, especially in the midst of the crises we have faced. We come to work to ensure that the acute vulnerabilities facing this segment of our population can be systematically addressed. We strive to make Barbados more accessible in every respect. And to that end, in the coming financial year, the Ministry of Transport and Works will implement a pilot accessible Bridgetown corridor, designed specially to improve mobility and independence for persons with disabilities, establishing a fully accessible pedestrian pathway linking key sections of the city from El Cipan roundabout through Prescott Boulevard, Lower Broad Street, and Bridge Street, with extensions into adjoining corridors, sir. This project will rehabilitate sidewalks, install curb ramps, tactile paving, and accessible crossings, and remove the physical barriers that currently prevent many persons with disabilities from moving safely through the capital. This initiative, sir, reflects the government's firm commitment to building a Barbados in which every citizen can move with dignity and independence. Too often, persons with disabilities are effectively excluded from our public spaces by infrastructure that was never designed with them in mind. This pilot, sir, will establish modern accessibility standards for Bridgetown and create a model that can be expanded across the country. At an estimated cost of $600,000, sir, this investment affirms a simple but powerful principle. A modern Barbados must be accessible to all of its people, sir. In keeping with our commitment to protect the vulnerable, sir, effective April 1st, 2026, the cost of living cash credit for all recipients of the special needs grant, children or adults, sir, will receive $100 per month, paid for 12 months, sir. I turn now, sir, to the Special Needs Trust Framework. Mr. Speaker, as the father of an autistic son, I can tell you the one thing parents of children with special needs fear is what will happen to our children when we inevitably pass. It is a gripping emotion, and as I celebrate, as I approach my 50th birthday, sir, in a few weeks, God willing, it has become even more front of mind. Individuals with special needs require exceptional treatment, sir, and care. And as such, this government's focus on mitigating these vulnerabilities will remain at the core of our policy response. Families caring for persons with disabilities often face significant financial challenges, including long-term medical and therapy costs, specialized housing and caregiving needs, and uncertainty about financial support after the death of parents or guardians. Currently, Barbados law allows trusts to be established. However, there is no specific statutory regime governing trusts created for disabled beneficiaries, particularly with respect to taxation of trust income and distribution. Although trusts may be created under current legislation, the absence of a specific statutory framework creates several challenges. Uncertainty regarding taxation of the trust income, as well as the lack of clear regulatory standards of such trusts, and limited financial planning options for families. Mr. Speaker, I now propose to introduce a special needs trust framework in Barbados effective April 1st, 2026, that will allow families to set aside assets for the long-term care and financial security of persons with disabilities. The framework would allow parents and guardians to create special need trusts for disabled beneficiaries. It will exempt trust income and distributions used for the care of disabled persons from personal income tax. It will clarify the tax treatment, sir, of trustees administering such trusts and supports the objectives of the National Disability Policy. This reform, sir, will provide long-term financial security for vulnerable citizens whilst having minimal fiscal impact on government's revenue. Adaptive aquatics, sir. Mr. Speaker, this next program is near and dear to my heart because in a small island state like Barbados, sir, swimming is not a luxury skill. It is a life-saving one. We know this as we see the loss of life every summer and are all aware of the low percentages of Barbadians who are actually able to swim. Yet many children, sir, particularly those with disabilities and those from vulnerable communities, do not have structured access to safe, supportive instruction. Equitable access to water safety and aquatic education is critical for all. By introducing an inclusive Learn to Swim and kayaking program with strong supervision and adaptive support, the program ensures that no child is excluded from the confidence, safety, and developmental benefits of the marine environment. The National Sports Council, sir, working with the nonprofit organization All Access Water Sports, will introduce an adaptive aquatics program to facilitate children and adults with disabilities to learn to swim through, in collaboration with the Sports Council, as I said. $450,000 has been allocated to include a summer camp and ongoing water safety training all year. We will also, sir, be providing funding for the National Sports Council in the estimates for the two new Olympic-sized pools in St. Philip and Holetown, which will significantly expand our capacity, sir. Mr. Speaker, you will recall that from June 1st, 2025, we extended the maternity leave provision for mothers from 12 weeks to 14 weeks for single births, and to 17 weeks for multiple births. We are conscious of the additional expenditure multiple births can have on families and the income early on. To further assist and strengthen families, sir, I propose to introduce a multiple birth cash grant from April 1st, 2026 to support families of multiple births up to age 5, which will be administered, sir, by the Social Empowerment Agency. The grant, sir, payable to these families is as follows, sir. $300 per month, sir, for twins, and $600, sir, per month for triplets and more. Let me repeat. Let me repeat. Let me repeat. The grant payable to the family, sir, is as follows. $300 per month for twins, sir, up to the age 5 and $600 per month for triplets and more up until age 5, sir. Let me be clear, sir. Let me be clear, sir. This does not apply to those gentlemen who may be lucky enough, sir. Let me pause, sir. Let me move on. Let me move on. Yes, yes. Families, sir. Families that currently have twins, triplets, or other multiple births, age less than 5 years old, can apply to receive the grant, sir, from April 1st. No means testing, sir, is required to access the multiple birth cash grant, sir. Investing in our future, sir. Mr. Speaker, from the time the Barbados Labour Party was formed as a political organization in 1938, we have been on a singular mission, sir, creating a better life for our people. Lifting people out of poverty has been at the center, sir, of our mandate. Too many families start from zero, generation after generation. A one-time shock, job loss, illness, or a broken roof, for instance, can erase years of progress. A universal birthright creates a baseline asset, sir, that cannot be taken away by bad luck or lack of opportunity. The Barbados Labour Party believes that we must reduce inequality without dividing the country. This is not a program that labels or stigmatizes. It is a national standard to which we must aspire as a republic where every Bajan child deserves a chance to thrive. With this ethos in mind, sir, I propose to establish the Barbados Republic Child Wealth Fund, which will fund a one-time birthright investment, sir, of Barbados $5,000, which will be held in trust for every child born in Barbados on or after November 30th, 2021, sir. As promised, sir. But even more than the promise, sir, in the estimates of revenue and expenditure for 26-27, we have set aside an estimated $52.1 million, sir, to cover those born between November 30th, 2021 and the end of the financial year, sir. Based on current birth rate, sir, we anticipate that the annual cost moving forward will be somewhere between $10 and $12 million, sir. Once the legislation is passed, these investments, sir, will be treated as statutory in nature. The government will deposit actual money, sir, actual money, cash, into a legally ring-fenced fund to be invested in real assets, bonds, equities, and diversified funds with individual beneficiary accounting. The following eligibility criteria apply, sir. At birth, Barbadian citizenship by birth, or a Barbadian citizen by descent of Barbadian public officials working abroad on behalf of the government of Barbados, or Barbadian citizen by descent of Barbadians who are ordinarily resident in Barbados. At the claim end, sir, continued connection to Barbados with a minimum 10-year residency before the age of 18, or non-resident status for children born abroad of persons working for the government of Barbados, sir. Proceeds will be used to fund education, sir, or other investments related to housing, which will be restricted to Barbados. The legislation, sir, will be introduced later this year, before the 5th anniversary of our republic and the 60th anniversary of independence, to govern the administration of the fund. An independent entity of the government and a single institution or company will administer the Barbados Republic Child Wealth Fund and manage, sir, its investment decisions. Conclusion, sir. Mr. Speaker, this budget is a product of discipline, of careful thought, and of a government determined to act in the interests of its people. It eases the squeeze where families feel it most. It protects our economy from global shocks. And it prepares Barbados for the opportunities ahead. It is responsive, it is responsible. Much is the actual delivery of promises made in our covenant with the people of Barbados in the recently concluded general election. This is what is necessary for trust in our public spaces to continue to be nurtured and reinforced. Above all, sir, it is rooted in an unshakable belief in the capacity of the Barbadian people to come together under strong leadership to meet any challenge in this turbulent world. For at a time when uncertainty stalks economies, conflict unsettles regions, and the pace of technological change threatens to leave many behind, Barbados has chosen not hesitation, but preparation. And yes, Mr. Speaker, greater will our nation grow as we work together to build the best Barbados possible for Bajans as we approach our Diamond Jubilee as an independent nation and our 5th anniversary as a republic. Before I conclude, sir, let me say two things through you, sir, to the country. During the recent campaign, sir, with your permission, I met a young lady who canvassed with me, sir, 14 years old. And whilst we were canvassing, sir, she introduced herself, and she says she wants to be a lawyer. And after she becomes a lawyer, sir, she says to me that she's going to replace me in Christchurch East Central. And with that challenge, sir, I invited her to speak on a platform in her hometown in Vauxhall, and she did an excellent job of demonstrating why it is important, sir, to invest in the future of Barbados. That young lady's name, sir, is Shamoya. I want to give her full name. On March 3rd, sir, with your permission, I'll read from my phone. I received a message on Instagram. And if most people know that I really don't do a lot on Instagram, I use WhatsApp, but I received a message on Instagram. And I shall read it with your permission, sir. Good afternoon, Honourable Ryan Strong. This is March 3rd at 4:05. My name is Faith, and I am a proud 15-year-old Barbadian student with big dreams for my future, sir. While I haven't always performed at my best in school, I have grown, learned from my experiences, and I am now fully determined to improve and reach my goals. I am excited about becoming the best version of myself and contributing positively to our country. I would truly appreciate any information about youth programs, mentorship opportunities, or educational initiatives that could help me continue learning and developing my skills. Thank you so much for your time and for your continued support of young people in Barbados. I don't remember what I was doing on March 3rd, but I saw the message, and on the March 7th, I was able to respond. Hi, Faith. Thank you for writing to me. I am really glad you did. First, I want you to know that there's nothing unusual about figuring things out along the way. Many of us didn't get everything right in school the first time either. What matters most is the decision you have made to push yourself and to become better. That says a lot about you. It takes courage to send a message like this and ask for guidance. I respect that. There are a few youth programs or opportunities that may be helpful to you, and I'll be happy to make sure you get that information. And I told her to send me a WhatsApp, and we will connect and walk you through what's available. Keep believing in yourself and keep putting in the effort. You're only 15, which means your story is still being written. I'm wishing you the very best as you keep moving forward. She sent me the WhatsApp, sir, and the first thing I told her, if you're going to communicate with me, I need your parents' permission, because you're a minor. She sent me her mother's telephone number. I spoke with her mother and explained to her what we will do. And her mother gave me permission to read that out here this afternoon. So I'm saying to all young people here this evening, sir, who may be out there feeling unsure of themselves, I want every young person in Barbados to know, sir, that there's a place in this world for them. And yes, sir, that place is Barbados, sir. It is not, sir, where you start in life, but once you're prepared to invest in continuous learning and personal development, then you will reap the harvest. In 1989, sir, when I was 14 years old, my first job was as a checkout boy at JG's Wholesale, right opposite Bethel Methodist Church. I earned, sir, a princely sum of $125 a week, which for a schoolboy is a lot of money in 1989, sir. But every week, sir, I would give my grandmother every cent of that $125. And I would live off, sir, the monies that the people would give me when they took the tips for taking their groceries either to the Fairtrade Street bus stand or all the way down, sir, to the Lower Green. Perhaps, sir, that's where the fiscal discipline started. When I was at Upper Sixth, sir, I was a merchandiser at Budge Boy at the top of Deacons Road, sir. And I would work from 11 p.m. to 5 a.m. in the morning, packing shelves on Thursdays and Fridays, sir, so that the weekend shopping will take place because there were no Sunday openings, sir, at that time. And I say to the young people, I started there across the way, and now this evening, sir, I'm here in this Parliament as the Minister of Finance of Barbados. So, sir, as I get closer to 50, I have not yet finished writing my own blueprint. And I certainly don't plan to finish here either, sir. But I say to Shamoya and Faith that, and the rest of the young people in this country, sir, that I want you to believe that you can go any part of the world, sir, and walk into any room and change what is happening in that room for the better of Barbados and the world, sir. And so I will respond, sir, to the President's challenge with respect to mentorship. And I will offer, with the parents' permission, sir, a summer internship with the Ministry of Finance, should they agree, to ensure that we do right by the young people of this country, sir. And so I conclude this speech, sir, with a few words from Dr. Martin Luther King. 6 months before he was assassinated, sir, Dr. King spoke to a group of students at Barrett Junior High School, sir, in Philadelphia on October 26, 1967. And this is what he said to them. I want to ask you a question, and that question is, what's your life blueprint? Whenever a building is constructed, you usually have an architect who draws a blueprint, and that blueprint serves as the pattern, as the guide. And a building is not well erected without a good, solid blueprint, sir. Now, each of you is in the process of building the structure of your lives. And the question is whether you will have a proper, a solid, and sound blueprint. I want to suggest some of the things that should be in your life's blueprint. Number one, in your life's blueprint should be a deep belief in your own dignity, your worth, and your own somebodyness. Don't allow anybody to make you feel that you are nobody. Always feel that you count. Always feel that you have worth. And always feel that your life has ultimate significance. Secondly, in your life's blueprint, you must have as the basic principle the determination to achieve excellence in your various fields of endeavor. You're going to be deciding as the days and as the years unfold what you will do in life, what your life's work will be. Set out to do it well. And I say to you, my young friends, doors are opening to you, doors of opportunity that were not open to your mothers and your fathers. And the great challenge facing you is to be ready to face these doors as they open. Ralph Waldo Emerson, the great essayist, said in a lecture in 1871, if a man can write a better book or preach a better sermon or make a better mousetrap than his neighbor, even if he builds his house in the woods, the world will make a beaten path to his door. This hasn't always been true, but it will become increasingly true. And so I would urge you to study hard, to burn the midnight oil. I would say to you, don't drop out of school. I understand all the sociological reasons, but I urge you that in spite of your economic plight, in spite of your situation that you're forced to live in, stay in school and continue learning. And when you discover what you will be in life, set out to do it as if God Almighty called you at that particular moment in history to do it. Don't just set out to do a good job. Set out to do such a job that the living, the dead, and the unborn couldn't do it any better. If it falls your lot to be a street sweeper, sweep streets like Michelangelo's painted pictures. Sweep streets like Beethoven composed music, sir. Sweep streets like Leontine Price sings before the Metropolitan Opera. Sweep streets like Shakespeare wrote poetry. Sweep streets so well that all the hosts of heaven and earth will have to pause and say, here live a great street sweeper who swept his job well. If you can't be a pine at the top of the hill, be a shrub in the valley. Be the best little shrub on the side of the hill. Be a bush if you can't be a tree. If you can't be a highway, just be a trail. If you can't be a sun, be a star. For it isn't by size that you win or fail. Be the best of whatever you are. If you can't fly, run. If you can't run, walk. If you can't walk, crawl. But by all means, sir, keep moving. May God continue to bless Barbados. And Mr. Speaker, with those few words, sir, I'm obliged to you. Mr. Speaker, I beg to move that this bill be read a second time.
Honourable Leader of Government Business.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. In a very unprecedented ending to this evening, we will close. We will suspend until tomorrow morning at 9:30 a.m. I will repeat that for the benefit of all members. 9:30 a.m. promptly on the 17th of March, 2026.
The question is that this honourable chamber be suspended until Tuesday, the 17th day of March, 2026 at 9:30 a.m. in the forenoon. All those honourable members in favor, please say aye. Those against, please say no. Me think the ayes have it. This honourable chamber stands suspended until Tuesday, the 17th day of March, 2026 at 9:30 a.m. in the forenoon.